like your local level, because like obviously the majority of the news that comes out, it's about like Toronto and Ontario real estate, then BC, Vancouver, and then probably like Alberta. You hear a lot about, maybe not as much as BC, Toronto, but like what's different about like real estate where you are? Like is things done different? Like BC, Toronto, like the commissions are structured separately. Yeah. There's no double lending in BC now. Like what's different out where you are comparatively?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously the transactions, the number of units are a lot less. I mean, the whole process of selling real estate, generally is the same. I mean, except for BC, but they're the outlier of the rest of Canada.
Yeah.
But the reality is the process is generally the same. The value in the real knowledge and advisory piece obviously is depending on the local market, and that's why when I'm into some markets, I talk high level, and I said, but if you really want this, and go see a local realtor in this market, and so my market is much different, and sometimes you have to recognize the market you're in, and most times I'm in an Uber or in a cab, I'm asking them, I'm always on my Realtor.ca app, kind of finding out what the market, what the market values are. I just love that sort of thing. But for me, like we have average days on market of 90 days, and my average sale price is 187. So it's a different.
So you got to do a lot of higher volume to hit the same.
It's the number of the number of ends we're trying to exceed that at each and every time.
Probably because most agents who haven't been in the business less than 15 years in Ontario, or at least in the GTA, there's other parts of Ontario would be closer to what you have. Like a long days on market here is like 21.
Yeah.
What changes, like, do you have to do over 90 days? Like, do you have to continually refresh advertising, or is it like you basically set everything up and then it's a waiting game after a certain point?
Yeah, no, look, you have to have an approach in different phases.
Yeah.
You can't throw everything. I don't do my marketing all in one fell swoop. So I explain to the consumer, my vendors, this is what we're going to do the first week. This is what we're going to do the second week. This is what we're going to do the third week. Because the problem is if you do it all in 1 week, you're not going to achieve success. And then the vendor's saying, well, but what are you doing? You just post a Realtor.ca and then forgot about it. It's like, well, no, you wanted me to do that all in 1 week. So there's a strategic. You got to be strategic, and then it's just staying in communication with your vendor. I think that's for me the success. I mean, I've got 30. Our team has 39 listings right now.
Yeah.
And we're constantly in touch. At our team meetings, I'm trying to push the team to communicate with people, because sometimes it's all right just to say, hey, nothing new happened this week. Talk about the other market dynamics. Hey, by the way, nothing on your street sold, nothing in your area sold, nothing in your price range sold. But it would be a different conversation if, well, there was 3 sales in your neighborhood and not yours. Then that's typically a price problem. So, I mean, we probably advocate for price reductions a lot more than other markets. But yeah, it's always kind of a two-way street with the marketing approach and then staying in touch.
So how much of your marketing, and this is an interesting one I found in like all over North America, like even with our American clients too, of when they're on the market that long, how much of your marketing is to like find a buyer versus like almost just appease the seller that you're doing something?
There's some of that.
Mm-hmm.
I question in my market. Other markets are different, but whether or not people buy a house off an open house.
Yeah.
To me, that's something, I find that some people in my market do to appease the vendor. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it can happen, but on a percentage basis. But for myself, it's all about strategically placing people in an online world. Like, I haven't advertised in print. Hopefully nobody's a print advertiser. I haven't advertised in print in about 5 years, and it took a big leap or a jump or a big bill to say no. But once I said no, then I've never looked back. It's never impacted my business, and so. But you have to communicate that with people. So I'm very upfront, and I say I don't advertise in the guide.
So where are you advertising now?
Mainly online. In terms of in a scenario where I can get into other markets. Like for instance, right now, one of the biggest things that's occurring in our market is people from Ontario and British Columbia moving in.
Yeah.
Because it's, always in the top 5 most affordable markets in Canada. And so, right now I'm looking at how do I, maybe we should talk offline, because like, how do I infiltrate the people that are actually thinking about making a move? Because that's the one game changer that could occur in my market right now, because there are people doing it. It started with people that sold their homes kind of in pre-retirement, but now it's like, as long as you can find an occupation or a job, then millennials love our way of life. Like, we don't have traffic. I mean, I'm from a city of 100,000 people, so it's it's not small, but it's not huge. But it's just one of those things where if I could search out those buyers, I think I'd have more success, because that seems to be
the most of them, like Toronto, Vancouver.
Yeah, like I've been doing like other innovative things like Matterports, virtual tours. That's not maybe typical to here, but it's not typical to my market.
Well, that's interesting. I found is like the further we get out of like the major cities, the less that stuff's common.
Yeah.
But then there's the funny one is like there's randomly little pockets where like someone got big using it. Yeah. And you'll find this like one random town where no one else is doing it, except in that one town everybody is.
Yeah.
Because one person did well with it and everyone copied. It's kind of like this funny little trend of just like these isolated pockets of people way ahead of the curve.
Right.
And then you go back.
But it's just like
one.
Now I don't take a listing without doing professional photography.
Yeah.
And there might be a handful of realtors in my marketplace that are doing that. Like it used to be that it had to be this that house price or above, but now it's everything except for real dilapidated mortgage foreclosures.
Do you have much
where I really don't want
to?
to. There's a little bit, but
not a ton.
but not a ton.
Yeah.